Freedom is not always liberating. Jean-Paul Sartre, the French existentialist, argued that humans are condemned to be free. Every choice, every action, every path we take is ours alone to determine. There is no divine blueprint, no predetermined destiny, no ultimate guide. Total freedom, however, carries a weight that many fail to anticipate. It is exhilarating at first, but it also terrifies. The terror of freedom arises because it is absolute and inescapable. To exist as a conscious being is to face the responsibility of choice continuously. Even choosing not to choose is itself a choice. In every moment, we confront possibilities, and with each possibility comes accountability. The mind senses the infinite potential of what could be, and the responsibility to define oneself in that space is immense. The paradox is that while freedom promises autonomy, it also removes comfort and certainty. Humans are conditioned to rely on rules, systems, and external authorities. Society, culture, family, and religion provide frameworks that narrow choices and reduce ambiguity. Within these structures, freedom feels contained, manageable. Remove these structures, and the individual confronts the raw landscape of existence, where the self alone is the arbiter of meaning. This confrontation with absolute freedom produces existential anxiety, a deep-seated fear rooted not in danger, but in the boundless responsibility of defining one's life. Existential freedom demands authenticity. Sartre described bad faith as the act of deceiving oneself to escape the pressure of freedom. Individuals pretend their choices are determined by circumstance, society, or necessity to avoid confronting their own power. People attribute decisions to external pressures, "I had no choice," or "that's just how it is." Yet, beneath this rationalization, consciousness recognizes the truth. Every act, every thought, is ultimately a personal declaration. To live authentically is to acknowledge this freedom and accept the anxiety it brings. The mind resists total freedom because it is fragile in the face of infinite possibility. Choice requires judgment, foresight, and imagination. Every decision carries consequences, not just practical, but moral and existential. Choosing a career, a partner, or even how to spend an hour involves layers of responsibility. The brain anticipates regret, mistakes, and missed opportunities. The freedom to define life is not liberating in the abstract, it is intense, daunting, and psychologically heavy. Freedom is also isolating. When responsibility rests solely on the individual, the comforting illusion of guidance or shared destiny disappears. No one else can bear the burden. Each person must navigate existence with their own values, beliefs, and judgment. This isolation heightens anxiety and amplifies fear. Relationships, societal norms, and cultural scripts may offer temporary relief, but they cannot erase the fundamental fact of existential responsibility. One cannot escape freedom without abandoning oneself entirely. Paradoxically, the terror of freedom shapes human behavior. People cling to routines, habits, and social expectations to reduce cognitive load and shield themselves from anxiety. Obedience, conformity, and ritual act as buffers against the vertigo of limitless choice. Yet these protective mechanisms often create dissatisfaction. Individuals sense the gap between what they truly desire and the choices they feel compelled to make to ease discomfort. The weight of freedom lurks in the background, shaping decisions unconsciously. Even creative acts are shadowed by existential freedom. Writing a book, starting a business, or pursuing art requires the acceptance that each act defines identity and meaning. The possibility of failure, criticism, or irrelevance intensifies the emotional stakes. In this context, freedom is not a playground but a crucible. The creative mind both celebrates autonomy and fears it, knowing that each choice is irrevocable in the construction of self. Understanding freedom requires acknowledging responsibility without evasion. Existential anxiety is not pathological, it is the natural response to the realization that life has no predetermined roadmap. The mind must balance desire, fear, and awareness, making choices with imperfect knowledge. This tension is uncomfortable, yet it is also the space where authentic living occurs. Freedom, therefore, is both terrifying and necessary. It is the foundation of selfhood, moral engagement, and meaning-making. Sartre's existential freedom illuminates why humans avoid absolute liberty. The promise of freedom is inseparable from responsibility, judgment, and isolation. Humans are naturally drawn to patterns, rules, and external validation to manage this burden. Yet, the essence of life, according to existential philosophy, is to confront freedom directly, to make deliberate choices, and to construct meaning in a world without inherent purpose. The anxiety freedom provokes is the price of authentic existence. Ultimately, total freedom terrifies because it exposes the fragility and potential of consciousness. It removes excuses, obligations, and illusions, placing the weight of life entirely on the individual. Each choice becomes a declaration, each action a testament to selfhood. The terror of freedom is the mind's recognition of its own power, the infinite possibility to define, create, and transform existence. To accept this freedom is to accept responsibility for every thought, feeling, and act, to embrace anxiety as a companion, and to forge an authentic life in a world that offers neither certainty nor guidance. Existential freedom is not a gift in the conventional sense. It is a challenge, a relentless confrontation with selfhood, possibility, and responsibility. Yet it is also the crucible of meaning, identity, and growth. To fear freedom is human, to embrace it is to live fully, aware of the weight of choice, the inevitability of responsibility, and the vast potential of existence.